Hey, Hawkeye fans, we took a little break, but we are back and we're happy you're back with us too. Hey, today we're talking about bowl prep. We are also talking about what's Talkin Hawks going to look like in the off season for us. We also have a special guest in the house, Luke Lachey. Can't wait to hear from him. And of course, we're going to do a little preview on Tennessee for the Citrus Bowl. This is Talkin Hawks presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed. Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals. It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com because we believe banking is better through human connection. Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Well, before we jump into this episode, I wanted to give a very special shout out to Estella's Fresh Mex. You guys, they are just the best. Obviously, we are a part of the Taco-Bout network, which is a part of Estella's, but also they have supplied us with food for all of our guests and for us every single week, which has just been the best. If you haven't been to Estella's, you have to go. I believe they have 2 locations. James, is that right? They've got one in Coralville and they have one in Iowa City. It is the freshest, best build your own burrito bowls. They have some breakfast burritos, which are some of Matt's favorites. If you haven't checked them out, you just have to. They are the best build your own burritos in the Iowa City, Coralville corridor area. You just have to do it. So a huge thank you to Estella's and a shout out to them for being an awesome sponsor and for really giving us this opportunity to have this show this year. This has just been so great. Okay, I'm ready to get into this episode. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good. God is good.
I love that I ask you that every time because it's not like we just drove here together.
Yeah, for 20 minutes.
I know exactly how you're doing. Well, hey, we're back. It's been a little bit.
It has.
I feel like we left without notice too. It's like we didn't even tell anybody, hey, we're taking a week off.
Keep them guessing.
Have to. Well, we took a week and a half off because now this is going to come out on Friday. Right. Friday, the 22nd. I think that's the date.
Yep.
So if you're listening on Friday the 22nd, hello, hi, we're so glad you're here. But, scheduling things, we have an amazing guest that obviously we want to work with our guest schedules, and bowl prep makes that a little bit more complicated because the schedule is different. Mm-hmm. And then we've got our own schedules as well. So we're just trying to weave it all together. Just make it right, Luke Lachey. He's coming today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him. Obviously, a lot of respect within the program, kind of in line to be the next great TE1, tight end 1 coming out of Iowa. So, looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, me too. I just think he's going to be the nicest guy ever. He just has that look about him, like gentle giant type look. We've seen so many of those this season.
True.
Okay, so after this episode, we'll obviously go into kind of a break again because we'll have Christmas week and you and I are going to be out of town. And then we'll have the bowl game, obviously, and then we'll come back after that and do kind of like a recap of that. Hopefully,
recap of that game, recap of the season, kind of thing. Yeah,
wrap it all up, put a bow on it, and then hopefully have a great guest as well for that. And then after that, so that'll be probably the week of
probably first or second week of January.
Yeah, one of the two. Keep you on your toes if you're listening. And then after that, our plan right now is to do 1 episode per month for the off season. So
now that January one would count as January, but we haven't completely decided how that's going to.
Just shh. Okay, so then we'll do 1 every month, and we're going to have a special guest every single episode. So we're not just going to limit it to Hawkeye football, because I think we've pretty much done that this season outside of Kate Martin, because obviously that lined up with crossover at Kinnick, and she's amazing, so why not have her on? But then we also want to have some guests from like wrestling. We've got some inquiries that I've sent out there as well, which I'm super pumped about.
Potentially some assistant coaches of various programs. So
head coaches of various programs, hopefully, fingers crossed there. We've just got our feelers out for a lot of great guests. So if there's a guest, either alumni currently in any of the programs that you feel like you want to hear from, message us, leave it in the comments, either on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Let us know, because we'll do what we can to get some really great guests this off season. I'm super pumped about that, because it's just like, I just love having the conversations. Like the stuff between you and I with the recaps and the previews, it's fine. I space out for about half of it when you start talking.
I'm the entertainment.
But yeah, I just love the conversations and getting to know the student athletes better.
But I think the point to that is you're saying the conversations. I feel like it's some people might see it as like an interview, which it is because we're asking questions. But I feel like when most of the time when you hear interview, it's like, okay, it's going to be the same questions that they've gotten their whole lives or whatever they get on Tuesdays for press as far as the football team's concerned. But I feel like we genuinely have conversations with these guys. And I feel like that's a really cool thing to be able to share with so many people their actual true story. You know, Deontay Vines is the first one that comes to mind. I know that he's no longer going to be with us, but and he's no longer going to be in the black and gold.
That sounded terrible.
Yeah, that's why I rephrased it. But like learning his story is still really cool because you get to see him as a person, not just a guy who put on number 0. You know, so I think that is really cool in what we bring. And so I'm curious and excited to see what conversations we get to have moving forward.
Me too. It's going to be super fun. And you know what? If we start getting like a bunch of different guests and we're like, whoa, we've got more than like the one per month that we just discussed, like maybe we'll throw out some bonus episodes. You just never know. So you got to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Talkin Hawks Pod. Obviously, keep following us on YouTube because you're going to see, subscribing on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, so that you can know when it drops. Turn on your notifications for that as well. So that you can see when all of that stuff comes out. And then if we've got some bonus stuff, you'll be in the know and get your Hawkeye fill for the off season. It's going to be fun. Okay.
And one thing too, I catch myself doing this because I'm a podcast listener. I like listening to other podcasts. You don't get everything the first time you listen to one. You know, especially like those conversations, like the one with Cade that was like 2 hours or an hour. The whole episode was 2 hours, but like an hour episode there. Like there's so many different things that you go back and listen to that you might not have picked up on the first time. Or if it comes to like the analysis stuff that I do or the background stuff that you do, one time through, you know, you listen and then it's gone. Whereas, you know, I think there's a point to learn more the more you listen to it. And I think that's cool too.
Or if you missed any from the beginning of the season, Cooper, Tori, those were a couple of first ones.
Jay Higgins was a great guest.
Yeah, just go back and you can listen to the interviews. Okay, let's go to bowl prep. So that's where we are in the season currently. Let's not jump ahead too far. So we're in bowl prep. What does that look like? I know that KF talks a lot about, and Quinn touched on this too, Quinn Schulte from a couple of weeks ago, said that it's really just a time for kind of the ones to take a small step back in terms of like practices and that kind of thing. And then it's kind of more of an opportunity for guys that maybe haven't gotten the reps all season long to like shine a little bit more. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, it's like a big mesh. As far as the players are concerned, it's like a big mesh. It's almost like an extended bye week where the ones kind of get a little bit, and I mean little and like little bit, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I feel like they're continuing to try and build that camaraderie and chemistry of a break. But then also spring ball where it's like, okay, you're going to be out there for 122 minutes. You know, like it's going to be a good practice. You're not going to be out there for 94 minutes in and out. You know, like you kind of do towards the end of the season, trying to keep guys healthy. You got a couple weeks here. You know, this is kind of where guys kind of pop up. You know, like Andrew Stone was a guy that hadn't seen a whole lot of playing time. He was a receiver in 2014. He was a transfer from Iowa Western, but kind of showed up during bowl prep and found himself in the game against Tennessee, which that was the last time we played Tennessee wasn't that great, but like he found himself in the game. He ends up doing something. I end up being able to go in there and play, but like you never know where those stories are going to come from. Who's going to all of a sudden shine and be like, you know what, we got to get this dude on the field. And especially with the new rules of you get 4 games and you still get your red shirt. I mean, you could see a lot of young faces. We'll get into kind of the Tennessee preview and what that looks like. But another thing is like you talk about guys getting opportunities. I think we've got 6 or 7 in the portal. I'm blanking on the exact number, but like those guys leave. So now more guys get an opportunity in practice. You know, it's just who's going to step in and fill that role, next man in, so to speak, of who could do that on, I don't know what day the first is. And normally I'd say who can do that on Saturday, but who's going to do that on the first in a cool bowl game. So
all that being said, what do practices look like? Because I can imagine that like meetings, practices, all of that kind of stuff, like schedule just gets shifted around a little bit, especially now that you're entering final. I think we are in finals week right now. Are we? Seems like it. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in college. Not that long, just a little bit. Okay, so what do practices look like?
So yeah, it's more individual stuff. So you're going to get like, towards the end of the season, you might only have 5 to 10 minutes worth of indie work, which is essentially receivers working receiver stuff, cuts, catching the ball, getting low in your breaks. Tight ends are working on blocks and also releases. O-line is working on how to fit their pads, like that kind of stuff. You're going to go back up to like 15, maybe even 20 minutes of indie time. So it's a lot more us mentality, which is different, I think, than some schools. But it's a lot more us. And then also, this is kind of shifted towards the end of my career. And I don't know if they still do this, but they almost do like a standard game week at Iowa. So here they'll do what a normal game week looks like. Your mental Mondays, Tuesday and Wednesday, get after it, Thursday off, Friday, fast Friday, 100%, whatever. What?
Just funny. Mental Mondays, Fast Friday.
That's what I called it. Get after it.
Funny.
And then Saturday, I think you have the day off. And then you do a normal game week once you get down there. Oh. So that way you kind of already went through it. You got to see it, scout team, whatever, and then you do it again. Now they may have shifted that though since then. So I'll be interested to see what Luke has to say about that. But that was the structure.
So when you go down to bowl games, you guys I say down because that's pretty much only ever go, except for New York. That was
Don't talk about that one. That was so cold.
But when you went to the bowl games that you went to, which how many was that?
5. I went to a bowl game each year, yeah.
Every year. Okay. What was your favorite activity? Because you guys do a lot of fun type things that you get to go to Disneyland or whatever. Like what was one of your favorite things that you guys did? Activities?
Yeah, I'm not like a roller coaster person. I didn't
ask what your least favorite thing was. I asked what your favorite thing was.
But my point is we got to go to Busch Gardens. We got to go to Disneyland. Is that the one that's in California?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to go to those, which was cool. But there was one that we went to, I think it was in Jacksonville. Maybe it was just seafood that we had was really good. I don't really care about the food. I'm not
okay.
I'm a chill person. I just don't do a whole lot of, I'm making myself sound really boring.
Yeah, let's try again. What was your name? You guys did a comedy thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sorry, my brain's kind of everywhere. Yeah, the comedy thing, because not only was that cool because the comedian was funny, but beforehand, they just left the mic and said, anybody can go up there, can talk. And so a bunch of the team would go up there and try and roast everybody. I remember James Daniels gets up there, grabs the mic. He's about to say something, then he acts like he's getting a call. So he pulls out his phone. He's like, oh, sorry, I got to take this. Puts the mic down and walks out. Doesn't even say anything. I think got booed off after that. But that was pretty cool just to see. That kind of bonding thing was pretty cool.
Cool. That's
so
it.
Thank you for reminding me.
You went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was okay. New York was kind of cool because we got to walk around New York. Mm-hmm. I walked around with Stanley for a while. So that was pretty cool to see it. But
went to the 9/11 memorial. I know way more about the things that you did than you do.
I'm more of a day-to-day. I'm still worried about the change orders and stuff that I've got for my real job.
Okay. Anyway,
so
I
think
the 9/11 museum. That was cool.
Yeah, we got to go up into a really tall, I don't know what they call it.
Did you see that?
Well, we went really high up into something that was 238 floors or something. And then it's really trippy because you're standing there and they have this screen and it's just showing you a video or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really remember the movie, but what I remember is they throw it open, cut open the screen and you're just looking over everything. And it's whoa, we're this high up.
That's cool.
Kind of feel a little bit like that.
Did you have a New York slice while you were there?
Had to. Went to Sbarro. No. Shout out to The Office. But no, I did go down and get a New York slice because I forget who I was talking to. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was like, hey, where do I go to get the best local pizza? And they gave you these giant slices. You don't order it by the pizza, you order it by the slice. Then you got to fold it in half. You got to do it all the right things. It was really good.
When I was in New York, I went by myself and
well, you were there for
the bowl game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went by myself for the bowl game.
I got you.
And was in the middle of Times Square for my hotel. And I was like, okay, I had to really work up the courage to go get something to eat. I can do this. I have no idea where I am, but I can do this. Went down, had my Google Maps on, and I'm following it. And I'm looking down, trying to figure it out, but also like simultaneously trying not to get hit by a car, trying to stay out of everybody's way, trying to look like I know where I'm going, and like,
yeah, how many circles did you end up
easy
making?
target. I did one full complete circle, and I was like, I like stopped and I looked up and I was like, I am back at my hotel. I got right back to my hotel. I'm like, all right. And it took me, I was like, don't cry. Do not cry. And just try again. And so then I tried again and we made it. And I went and had sushi by myself. And then I was like, I'll get a glass of wine. Gave me a glass of wine. Biggest glass of wine I've ever seen in my life. Didn't want to leave it behind. So I was like, well, I just...
So you drank, you got
and
drunk
I was
by
like,
yourself.
I was just a little buzzed by myself in New York and decided it was a good idea to go to not the Wax Museum, the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum by myself. That is so weird. Like, this is the weirdest day of my life.
Actually, I feel like we went there as a team, or like we could have gone there.
It was fun. You probably saw my pictures that I took because I was alone at a museum. Like, what else do you do? I guess I'll just take a picture of this to show people later. So silly. Anyway. All right. Let's go into, so we've got.
Sorry. So I'm going to back up.
What?
The reason I don't remember the activities as much is because I was so focused on the game.
Okay. So glad you gave that disclaimer. That's something, knowing you, that would have kept you up for a couple nights. Like, oh man, people are going to think I'm not grateful for the activities we did.
I still think about it. I'm thinking about it right now. And I mean, like, we could cut it, but it's not worth it.
Don't do it.
No, because this shows who I really am and that I care about
football.
All of the things that accompany a bowl game.
All right. Okay. So we've got a new hire coming up. That's not going to be until January. We just heard from KF in a press conference this past Tuesday. Definitely not going to speculate who it's going to be or what that's going to look like, because there's just no point. And so I don't know. What do you want to say about that? Because I feel like you had something you wanted to mention.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. So I got to go under two offensive coordinators between Coach Davis and Coach Brian. And this is the beginning of Coach Brian's system, so inevitably it's not what it was when he left.
Okay.
Meaning, like, as you build a system, and so basically, like, a system is everything you can do, and then you pare down to, like, everything you can do, and then you look at your players and be like, okay, these are the plays that we can do, and then week to week, you're like, okay, this is our game plan. So, like, system is everything, and then you just pare down until you get to the game.
Got it.
Essentially. So, like, he was just starting his system, so it wasn't as much that you could pull from to begin with. Whereas Davis, I'd played 4 years under that system, and we kept growing it, so, like, there was a lot more to pick from at that time.
Okay.
I say that just to say that the system I played in under Brian is different than what was this past year, essentially. But we heard Coach Ferentz say that they're going to have to fit our culture, right? They're going to have to fit in that, like, we play complementary football and whatnot, and we're not going to sling it around the yard. Now, I think that there's truth to that. Coach Ferentz is obviously the head guy. You're going to do what he wants. But I think when you look at who comes in, that doesn't mean that they just forget everything they've ever done and then they call Coach Ferentz's offense. Like, that's not the point of bringing in an OC. But
at the same time, Coach Ferentz has been here for 25 years. So you're not just going to throw everything out that he's ever done.
Correct.
You're bringing your own stuff. Yes.
Correct. Like, it's going to be a mesh of both.
Right.
When I think about Coach Davis, I can't remember if I've brought this up on the podcast or not, but he and my receivers coach at the time, they were both on the national championship winning team with Vince Young at quarterback. Deacon Hill is not Vince Young, even though I think he's going to continue to grow as a player. He doesn't have the mobility and that kind of stuff that Vince Young had. So when you talk about, like, that offense was centered around Vince Young and spread and read option and stuff like that. When he came here, it's not like he just forgets that, because it was still the same system, but they just changed what they could do out of it. So now you incorporate a fullback. Well, in the system, we already had an ability to do that. We just named things differently. So, like, Coach Brian had similar things to what Coach Davis did, but they called it different things, and they had just minute differences of, like, this guy might down block, this guy might pull, receivers are going to go get safeties, or receivers are going to stay man on depending upon the call. Like, everything's relatively similar. Whoever comes in most likely going to do a zone scheme as opposed to a gap scheme when it comes to running the football. And we probably dabble a little bit in both, but we're mainly known for, like, inside zone, outside zone. So zone blocking scheme is a little bit more on counting and being able to know who blocks who, and you're usually a little bit stronger. And I know I'm getting a little analytical here, but, like, this is who's going to fit. There's a lot of talk about the Denver Broncos back when Mike Shanahan was the head coach of, like, They're a really good job of zone scheme, but what you have to have is a really good running back in zone scheme, because zone scheme basically just moves all these people this way, and then you read the backer of like, okay, did he flow over the top? Then I'm going to cut back. Did he stay underneath? Then I'm just going to follow my blockers. So it's more of a read, like if he does this, I'm going to react this way. Whereas a gap scheme is like, okay, I want to go into this gap. I want to go into B gap. And then you all block based on angles. Usually it's with more athletic linemen that are a little bit, that aren't quite as strong, because it's all about banking the angle. So that way they move the people and then you just run in the gap and you just stick it up in there with the run it back and just to hope that you get a couple yards or that he pops one. So like the new guy is going to have some zone scheme stuff.
Sorry, it's funny when you say like little things like.
Anyway, so like it's going to be a zone scheme. You're going to have play action, going to be pro style. Like there's going to be different nuances. You saw that you can do all kinds of different things within a system. Like we saw Iowa go 5 wide. Now, not necessarily OO personnel, meaning 5 receivers on the field, but the ability to spread it out. Like the new guy is probably going to have something like that. He's going to have the ability to turn around and hand it off, because that's what we do. Like you don't need to get away from everything. It's just a matter of like, how do you mesh some of this new stuff with this? And I think it also comes along with coaching. I talked about, not giving up leverage on certain things, or, potentially if you're coming across like what our depth is so that we're hitting it and the timing's right. Like we saw that go to work at some points. Obviously that just needs to continue. But I think this first year, like everybody kind of seems to be on the train of thought that it's going to be an overnight change, which it's not, and it doesn't need to be. But this first year, going back to Brian's first year, like it's just going to be a smaller system. You got to start small, understand what your players can't do, and then you can build from there and build nuances off of that. But I think that's the main thing, is bringing somebody in who's willing to do that, willing to mesh some of what they already have with what Coach Ferentz wants to do as an offense. But I've talked about this before. Coach Ferentz, I think, is a master delegator. He probably talks to Coach Parker a little bit, but like for the most part, it's Coach Parker, call your defense. Coach Woods, call your special team stuff. And they'll check with him, be like, hey, are we going for it here? Are we punting here? Like that kind of stuff. But for the majority, it's like, okay, this is your offense, go. This is your defense, go. I'm just going to make sure that everything, stays together and works forward for the team. And so I think knowing that, I'm looking forward to see who this is, who they end up bringing in for a multitude of reasons. But I don't want people to think that all of a sudden it's going to be an overnight change. You have to learn the system, grow in the system, and then see what that brings.
Cool.
That was very analytical without speculating. Yeah,
no, I think that's good. Sounds great to me. Okay, well, we're going to hop into our conversation with Luke Lachey, and then we'll be right back. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing, a local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing, the small town roofer you can trust. Hey, Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Yeah. I mean, they've been servicing the corridor for like 40 years.
Okay, but did you know that until somebody had to tell you?
No, I didn't.
Well, hey, check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first. Visit ictire.com. Alrighty, we're going to hop into our interview with our very special guest. I'd like everyone to please welcome Luke Lachey.
Thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
Oh,
an honor.
It is.
Luke, oh my gosh. You know, when I asked you to come on, you're like, I've seen some of the reels.
Yeah.
It just must have seemed like a decent time. You're like, I could probably go.
Yeah, no, it seemed like a great time. Everyone seemed to be having fun. So I thought, it'd be fun to join the show.
Nice. Well, we're so excited to have you. I feel like it's been a while since anybody has heard from you, especially. Okay, so what game of this year was your injury? Remind me.
Against Western Michigan.
Okay.
Week 3.
So. Week 3. Wow, that's crazy. And how are you feeling right now? Let's just get there.
Yeah, really good. I started running a lot and, continuing to improve every day. That's the biggest thing for me. And, I just trying to keep a positive attitude as well. So, yeah, everything's going smooth.
Good. So talk to me about kind of the procedure that you had done. However much you want to share about that.
Yeah, so they did like a tightrope surgery in there and just fix up the ligaments that were torn with the dislocation. And then they did, my fibula was just kind of left alone to heal Since it was high enough, they didn't have to put a rod in there. So that was positive. So yeah, it's just still healing now, but it's feeling good.
That's good. Well, that's what we like to hear.
Well, I feel like some of the things that kind of get lost with injuries is that it really is day to day. Like you got to know that it's not a sprint. Like I might feel great today and think I can do everything, but you got to know that like, okay, well, 4 months from now is really when I need to be feeling good or whatever the next plan is for the end of the season. But knowing that you've got the rest of the year to kind of get yourself healthy, you don't have to speed up the process.
Right. I agree. And like the biggest thing for me is not trying to compare myself to the other guys that are, training with me. I know like working out with them, they don't have the same injury as me, like arm or like neck or something like that. But I feel like just running and seeing them run, I'm like, why can't I do that? And then it's,
Sure.
it's obviously very different. And so just trying to not compare myself to anyone is a big thing for me as well.
Well, and it's a big mental thing too, especially in, I don't know how much you've been cutting recently, but I know that. So I broke my foot 3 times. And like the second time, I remember I was babying it so much. It took me like 5 seconds to get around the cone because I was thinking about it. So I don't think people understand the mental. And we had Cade McNamara come on and talk about his extensive rehab that he did out in California in a warehouse. If you haven't checked out that episode, you really need to go look at it. But the mental side of it is just as important. So like you said, knowing that it's just me, like they're not me, I need to take care of what I need to do to get better. Right. But I feel like that kind of goes into, and Laura's heard me say this a million times, like that Iowa mentality. It's like, I just need to find a way to be better today. Yeah.
And I agree. I think that you just need to trust your body and trust that they're going to put you in the right position to succeed and be healthy. So I think that's like a real main thing for me is being able to trust that in the process.
For sure.
Okay, so feeling good. We've got that covered. I think that's probably a question that are on a lot of people's minds. And you're ruled out for the bowl game, yes?
So ruled out by Coach Ferentz. I actually didn't know about it, but I haven't been practicing yet. So without it would be less than 2 weeks of practice. It probably wouldn't be smart. So
probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we just hope you get all the way back feeling better, feeling like yourself again.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Yes. All right. So let's go all the way back. Let's go back to you as a child. Like, where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in Columbus, Ohio. So it doesn't sound small because Columbus is a big city, but it's called Grandview Heights. It's kind of a landlocked, community. And, I grew up, in our high school, there's probably 350 kids, which in some cities in Iowa, that may seem like a lot, but, I've come to learn that is a lot here, but not where I'm from. So, I knew almost everyone in my high school growing up and stuff like that. And, knew a lot of people in my community. So I know I was really fortunate to grow up where I grew up, and, it's just, a great thing. And, I was the youngest of 5. So I have 3 older sisters and then an older brother. And we're all like 9 years apart in age. And my brother and I are the closest. So we got to play like high school sports together. And, we really enjoyed that and being able to play basketball and football. And then I think we did, a year of track together, and it was awesome. So.
Very good. So you played basketball. What else?
Yeah, so basketball, football, and track. I did play baseball growing up, but my sisters told me that if I played baseball, they would never come to any of my games.
What?
So I better run track because they all ran track. They were like, we're not going to come if you...
Not baseball fans?
They just wanted me to run track. They love track. So I was like, all right, if I can't have them not be at any games. So, I was in 6th grade when they told me that. So I was pretty peer pressured into it. So
they cut your dreams quick.
Yeah, I cut them quick. I wasn't like an all-star baseball player.
Well, not at 6th grade.
Not in the 6th grade. I was the home run derby champion. I would say that.
Seriously?
Yeah. But I just figured it helped me for football and basketball as well, running track. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it, but I think baseball would have been fun too. Who knows?
Well,
that is so funny.
With Shohei Ohtani's latest contract, you probably should have stuck with baseball.
That was crazy.
I'm the youngest of my siblings too, and I was going to play softball like in middle school and high school, and my sister was like, "Are you sure? Like, don't you think you want a summer?" And I think that was her way of being like, "I'm not going to come watch you. Like, I want to be out by the pool doing stuff like that."
Definitely.
I feel you so much right now. You're like, "Man, what could have been?"
Exactly.
You wouldn't have peer pressured me. That's hilarious.
No, definitely. I feel it's so different, like with, baseball and softball being in the summer here, in Ohio, it's in the spring. So that's why it like contradicts with track and field. So, it's just so wild to me that you can play 4 sports really. And some do 5. I know Brandon Sheriff was a guy who did like 5 sports in high school, which is crazy to me. I mean, he's just different, but
yeah,
that's why he's still playing in the NFL. So.
Oh, very good. So you said 3 older sisters. Did they play sports? What was their interest?
Yeah, so they played sports in high school. They played soccer, basketball, and then track and field as well. And then one actually did cross country too. But yeah, they did that. Then they all went and studied at Ohio State. Okay. And did their stuff there. And then now they're all graduated. One is expecting a baby in February. Mm-hmm. One had her first baby in April, the end of April.
Jeez.
And then my other sister is over in Switzerland working for Nestle. So she like
what?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. She's my dad likes to say she's our world traveler.
Yeah.
So, she'll go to Europe and stuff like that. And now like sometimes I'll just like be like, oh, we're going to go study in France this week. So they take a train to France. I mean, it's pretty cool. So.
Wow. Have you got to visit her at all?
No, I haven't. But in high school, I went to France with my French class. Like we could sign up if we wanted to go. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. And so I was like, I've been real close to the area where she's living now. Okay. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hold on. So cool. How does she end up in Switzerland?
So she worked in Cleveland at the Nestle branch there. And now she's studying bees and their honey and coffee or something like that. And it's really complicated, but she likes what she's doing. And I think she does a good job at it. So
that's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
See, these are like my favorite stories because then we found out like when Deacon came on that his sister was an Olympic medalist or champion or
right.
gold medalist, I guess. And just like all this crazy stuff. And it's always like, families of D1 athletes, it's like there's excellence everywhere you look. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I know I kind of find that out recently too about Deacon, maybe in the summer, but I just couldn't believe that. That's pretty awesome. Water polo is awesome.
Yeah, we were talking to him about the training, and I was like, "That is a process we are not familiar with here in Iowa."
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild. Okay, and then you've got a brother.
I do.
Tell me about him. You guys got to play together a little bit in high school.
Yeah. So he went on to play football at Bowling Green, in Ohio also. But he was only there for about a semester. Just he had to medically retire with concussions, but then he obviously stayed there and had a great time in Bowling Green. But now he's graduated as well, and he sells jet time for a company called VistaJet.
Gotcha.
NetJets is their competitor. But yeah, so he really enjoys that. He kind of got into that by just kind of knowing some people, and I think he went to had some sort of sports background major. So it's not really what he went to school for, but
sure.
It just kind of ends up like that, and he likes it.
I feel like most of the time you go to school for something that you end up not. Like, you don't always go down that path unless it's like doctor or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, so off air, you were saying that you're entrepreneurship and
enterprise leadership.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, I mean, you think about that, like that's life skills that are going to carry on, which you could argue that in those walls of the building at Iowa football, you're learning more life lessons there than really probably anything else can teach you.
Yeah, I agree. I learned so much in that building, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're a high school athlete and you have the choice to be able to, pick schools, you're going to learn so much at the University of Iowa. And I just don't think there's a better place. And that's just my little recruiting pitch. But yeah, I mean, you do really learn so much inside those buildings. I mean, inside that building with all the, the people in there that, have found so much success working in, coaching and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So you talk about no better place than Iowa, but you have quite a few ties, and that's saying it lightly, to Ohio State.
I do.
Talk to us about that. Let's just start at your dad.
Yeah.
Okay, and go from there.
Yeah. So my dad, he spent 4 years at Ohio State. He was an All-American his last season, and then
you said he spent 4 years. That is not the phrasing I was expecting.
What's that? What do you mean?
I just thought you would be like, well, he was really good at Ohio State. He just spent 4 years there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed like
No, for sure.
Big.
No, I get you. Yeah, he had a good career at Ohio State, and then went off and was fortunate enough to play in the NFL for a while, and then after he retired, he went back and has now been the color commentator for the radio for the last 26 years. So
Jeez.
Well, yeah, he's really enjoying it. He loves who he works with, and I think they do a really good job. So I like listening to him whenever I can, but last couple of years I haven't really listened to him at all. So
for good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. But then my mom also went there. They met there, and then my sisters. Actually, I should start a little bit back going before my sisters. My uncle played there, and then my other uncle played there too. So on different sides of the family though. So it's kind of crazy just how
all
that
football.
worked out. All football. Yeah, long snapper and then center.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty cool. And then my sisters all went there, and my middle sister, her husband played center there, and now he's still in the NFL. He was on the Cardinals, but he was on IR this season, just with a concussion and some other stuff going on. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to play. But so there's a lot of ties, and there's a lot more than what I'm saying. Like my cousins, they all went there. My one cousin, she swims there right now. It's kind of crazy, the connections there, but yeah.
Dang, so you're the black and gold sheep.
That's right. Yeah.
That's crazy. So,
well, how does that come to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in high school, around the time Iowa started recruiting me was the same time when TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant were drafted in the first round. And so,
that helps.
That helps a lot. And I saw that and, knew that they use tight ends a lot and have done a really good job, helping them succeed at this level. And, I just thought that was really appealing to me. And, obviously the stability and the coaching with Coach Ferentz being here for so long was big for me as well. And, I don't know. I just really enjoyed that aspect of it.
So I got two follow-up questions.
Yeah.
First was, did you play tight end in high school, or was that something that they were like, when you come here, you'll play tight end?
Yeah, it was kind of a thing, when I come here. I was a wide receiver and a cornerback.
You were a corner?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you, like 250?
No, I was like 205. So I was really light in high school. I was real skinny. But yeah, so they, kind of were taking a bet on me almost because with me, I was like only 205, but I was 6'6" at that point. So, I think that I had a good frame, and I think they could see that. So
they know they're going to put weight on you.
For sure. Yeah.
And then the follow-up to that then was, what were the other options, whether it be FCS, whether it be other Power 5, like what were the other options?
I'd say the top choices, the other top choices would have been like Michigan State. I took a visit there. Cincinnati. I liked Cincinnati. I liked Coach Fickle a lot. I've known him for a while just because he was working at Ohio State, and he and my dad had known each other, so I'd known him. Then Wisconsin a little bit too. I didn't really take too many visits in high school. Just my parents were kind of busy at times, and I just felt like during the football season it was kind of harder to get around.
For sure. Yeah,
and obviously Ohio State was in the mix as well. But yeah, so I'd say those schools mainly.
Wow. Mm. And so the tight ends and then Coach Ferentz kind of lured you away from everything else. That's kind of crazy,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just felt like the opportunity to play here was, better than anywhere else. So, I'm very fortunate and, could never, question my decision to come here. And
I'm going to piggyback off of that real quick. What's insane, like you hear, I guess in today's world, transfer portal, leaving and moving and all the moving parts. And we talk about how defensively this past season was a lot of guys that had waited their turn and then they develop into the player they are. Offensively, we had a few more players come in from the transfer portal, but you were lured here, you were brought here basically on the thought that they were going to develop you into what they see from you.
Yeah.
Like that's I feel like you don't get that everywhere because it's like, I want here and I'm going to play now and I'm going to do this.
Right.
But like the Iowa way is like, okay, I know I'm not the frame. I'm not the look that I'm going to be in 2 years from now when I have a shot to go to the league because I know what they're going to do with me. I don't think that can be understated on like what Iowa can do with players.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they develop people more than anyone, or like better than anyone else in the country. And that was a big thing for me, like out of high school. Like some schools want you to be like 250 pounds right out of high school and be ready to play right away. And that's not what Iowa is at all. Like they expect you to come in and just do the little things right every day, come in and work hard, and you'll gain your weight and get stronger and develop into the player that they want you to be. So I think that is just what you want in a school, especially when you know in high school you don't have that frame, that you're not like blessed with the I'm absolutely blessed to be 6'6", but I did not have the weight at that point, and I just think it was perfect for me. There's no place better.
So when you came here your freshman year, who was ahead of you at that point at the tight end position? Sam LaPorta?
Yeah, and then Sean Byer as well.
Okay.
And there were a lot of guys. So, but yeah, those two were the starters that year.
Okay.
And they did a good job. Someone who doesn't really get their recognition, I'd say, is Bryce Schulte, Quinn's older brother. But he did a great job helping me out a lot and just kind of understanding the playbook. And obviously so did Sam and Sean, but I really feel like strongly about, Bryce helping me out a lot, and he helped me, succeed my first year, and I'm really grateful for it.
That's really cool. Well, he's got the coaching dad,
Yeah, definitely.
He comes by it naturally.
I know, he does. Yeah, I know. I was always so impressed. Like Brian would just ask him a question and he'd just shoot back an answer right away. And so I was like, I got to get by this guy and start to learn from him.
Yeah.
So Brian would have been your coach when you first got here?
Yeah.
So who recruited you to come here?
Brian did. Brian and Tyler Barnes. So
Gotcha.
There's not really an area recruiter in my city, in like the Columbus. I know like a lot of the guys have, or a lot of the coaches have certain areas, but no one really had that area. So it was mainly, Tyler Barnes and Brian.
Wow.
So then you said Sam LaPorta was kind of ahead of you, especially the starting tight end there. Watching him and his success now in the NFL, how cool is that?
Oh, it's awesome. He and I are pretty good friends. I'm actually going to hopefully go and see him play in week 18 against the Vikings. But yeah, it's unbelievable. But at the same time, I'm not really that surprised because, I got to see him every day in practice and the way he approached like lifting and stuff like that. And just how way he approached everything, really. Like he's just, so ready for anything that comes his way. And it's impressive. So it's cool to see, but can't say I'm too surprised, to be honest.
Yeah. Another not a bad guy to learn from.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome guy. So.
Very good. So tell me about what else you like to do outside of football. Do you have any other like hobbies? Are you a golfer?
I golf a little bit. I'm not very good. I can't really claim golfing. I started in like July. So
I swear,
you just gotta go a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's something about this past summer. All of you guys are like, I just started. I just picked up a club. What is that?
I don't know. It's just everyone was doing it. So I think, I think that, that kind of sparked it.
Yeah. Okay. So what else do you like to do?
I've kind of picked up reading since my injury. I've read 6 books at this point.
Wow.
And now I'm reading the Harry Potter series. So
nice.
I'm a big Harry Potter guy. I love Harry Potter. So I'm on the 4th book right now.
Nice.
About halfway through. I took a little bit of a hiatus where I wasn't reading a little bit, but now I'm getting back on track. So
Remind me what the 4th one is.
it's The Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
That's my favorite movie of all of
I
them.
was gonna say, have you seen the movies?
I've seen the movies more than I can count. Yeah, I can like quote some of them.
Do you watch Freeform when they have Harry Potter weekend?
Oh yeah,
That's the best.
It is awesome.
Just leave it on all day.
Yeah, exactly. I would. So in high school, I would record them and come home for lunch. We were able to come home for lunch every day, and so I'd come and just turn that on and just like continuously watch it. Like I love Harry Potter.
So do you like the movies or the books better at this
The
point?
books are better.
Okay.
So I've read the books before, but I wanted to reread them, and I've read them took me like 2 years from 4th to 6th grade. So I had to take some breaks and read Diary of a Wimpy Kid because I wasn't reading the books fast enough. I wouldn't get enough pages for my reading log, so I had to take a break. But
Reading logs.
yeah. But yeah, I love the books. I think that there's just so many more details that they kind of leave out of the movie. And I love the movies as well, but the books are great.
That is funny. So you're going to Orlando for the game.
Yeah.
So are you guys going to go to Universal?
We are. Yeah, we are.
Have you been to Harry Potter World before?
Yeah. So last time we were at this bowl game, I went.
You guys got to go.
Yeah.
Was it a dream come true?
It was. I got my Harry Potter wand there last time. So yeah,
incredible.
I got the wand, and I went in 6th grade and I got a wand then too. So I've got 3 wands now, I think. So I might have to refrain myself from buying one this year, but that might be difficult.
Don't do it. You got to get which
You
ones
get your
do
per
you
diem.
have?
It's all good.
I have Harry's, Dumbledore's, and Draco's. So it's like all the wands that Harry at one point or another, like they kind of belong to him in the movies. So yeah, I'm like a nerd. I really am. So
oh my gosh.
yeah. So I kind of thought that one through, and I started with the Elder Wand.
Yep.
I thought that was the coolest one. So I started with that one, then got Draco's, and then Harry's last time. So yeah, I just kind of went with that.
What would be the next one?
Oh, I don't know.
Snape's?
Maybe Snape's.
That'd be a good one.
I don't know. Voldemort's would be cool, I think. But
You'd have to get that one.
I know. We'll see.
Okay. Did you get butterbeer last time you were there?
I did. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
It's really good. Did you get the regular one or the frozen one?
I did the frozen one.
Get the regular one this time.
Okay. I will.
Change your life.
All right. Sounds good. I'm all in.
Can you please be the guy that wears the whole costume, though?
I told Cade.
6'6" guy.
I know. I should. I told Cade about week 8. The bowl projections started coming out, and I was like, if we go back to the Citrus Bowl, I'm buying the whole robes.
It's out there in the universe now. It has to happen.
Now I know. So I might have to now.
So hold on. Can you show up to the game? Full robe?
No, I'm not sure what Coach Ferguson would say about that. No, I couldn't. That would be awesome though. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so reading. What else? Like, what kind of hobbies did you grow up with? I guess outside of sports.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's the biggest.
Hanging out with my friends a lot.
Yeah.
We'd a lot of times we just like to go over to each other's houses after school, play more sports, or at my house, a lot of guys would come over and we'd play like hide and seek, like outside and everything. It was all like fun, and yeah, so stuff like that, hanging out with my friends. That was what I kind of grew up doing. Now, still hanging out with my teammates, stuff like that. My girlfriend, when she comes, she was here. Actually, she left yesterday, but she goes to Ohio State as well. So there's another tie I forgot to mention earlier. But
no way. Have you guys been together since high school?
I was gonna say high school sweethearts.
Yep. So Emma, we've been together since junior year, so over 5 years now. So
wow.
Yeah, she's pretty special. But so yeah, we obviously hang out when she comes. We like to watch TV shows together on FaceTime because, in long distance, you got to find
100%.
things to do. So, we'll FaceTime and watch TV shows and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then, now when she's here, we love to like find places to eat. I don't know if you guys have ever had like Baroncini.
No.
It's an Italian restaurant. But it's so good.
Where's it at?
It's actually right downtown Iowa City, kind of near Chop House. So,
okay.
Yeah, it would be like across the street, like on a corner. It's really, really good. It's a very small place, but yeah, it's amazing.
It's got good stuff. All right, we'll have to check it out.
Is that date night?
Yeah, that's our date night. Yeah, it's our date night. It's a good spot.
Favorite Italian food?
I love lasagna.
Yeah.
It's really good. Last time I guess I got the margarita pizza there. It's amazing. So
That's right up your alley.
Yeah,
Yep.
It is so good. And we'd get that to share as an appetizer, and then I'd get the lasagna. But sometimes it's just so good that I just wanted it as like the whole meal. So
Yeah.
got the whole one to myself. Yeah.
Nice. So, okay, if you don't mind me asking, how did that go when you guys obviously together since junior year and you're like, okay, I'm not going to Ohio State, as I'm probably people would assume that's what you would choose, right? How did that go? And you're like, okay, I'm going to Iowa. That's going to be 8 hours away driving time?
Yeah, 8 hours
even more?
Exactly.
Is it 8 hours?
Yeah, it is.
That was
There
really
you
good.
go.
Who do you know at Ohio State?
Yeah.
Good question. I'm sorry. But how did that go?
Yeah,
Was that a weird conversation?
No, I think she was really excited for me. Yeah, I mean, she loves Iowa football. I won't say anything like that she would say about Ohio State football, but yeah, I mean, she always watches our games on TV and everything like that. And so she was like just really excited for me. Obviously, like the distance part was like harder, but you know, like, I mean, I'd even say it and she would say it too. Like in high school, I don't know how, like if we would have thought like at this point we would still be dating and everything, but you know, everything worked out and it's all going great. And, you know, I just think she was just super excited, I'd say. So
I have the best idea for you, Luke.
what's that?
Harry Potter world. Bring a ring.
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's just a
That'd be
thought.
cool. Maybe in a couple of years.
In a couple years, go
Well,
back to the citrus.
Yeah. Go back.
Stop
to
talking about Harry Potter.
Sorry, I just
Is she as big of a nerd as you are? In Harry Potter?
She doesn't like Harry Potter as much as I like Harry Potter, but
Okay.
she'll watch it.
she'll watch it.
Yeah, she read the books, but
I get it.
It sounds like you two are more similar in that y'all nerds, and then I'm more like your girlfriend. Of
Yeah.
like, if it's on, it's on.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That checks out.
no, but yeah, I Logan already did that last time. Logan Lee, he
Oh,
proposed at
right.
Universal, so I can't steal his thunder.
Okay.
So I got to just let that be his thing.
We did talk to him about that, didn't we? Okay. That's fair.
So
That's very respectful. of
yeah,
you.
I'm just kind of
And
trying
well-
to respect that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but see, here's where I'm going to push back because y'all the same number.
Yeah,
So it kind of has to carry with it. But I mean, it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, great idea, but
Yeah. So how often does your dad get to come watch you play? Does he get to watch you play that often?
he gets to come every once in a while
Yeah.
for their bye week. Last year, so this year he came to. We played against Michigan State, and then the Big Ten championship game,
Okay.
and then in 2022, he called the Ohio State game, and that was the only one that he was able to go to since our bye weeks were on the same week.
Okay.
And then 2021, actually, he got to go to 4 games that year because we played at Maryland at night or on that Friday night that year. And then Ohio State played at Rutgers. So he just drove from Maryland to Rutgers that morning. And then he went to 4 games. The first game against Indiana, Purdue that year. So he got to 4 games and then the Big Ten championship. That's the other one. Yeah. So yeah, he gets to them. But yeah, I think that's the hardest part. If he's not at the game, then he's got it on YouTube TV, and if he's calling at the same time, he's watching the game, and then also watching or calling Ohio State's game. I hope he can't get in trouble for that.
Well,
I don't
I'm
think
just
it happened
envisioning
this
him
year.
calling the game with like his phone down here of like, Iowa football.
Yeah, he gets to watch the replays, I should say.
There you go.
Yeah, he make sure he does his job first.
Definitely not live.
Yeah.
We got you. We got it covered.
That's cool. So do you have a lot of memories of like going to Ohio State games when you were growing up?
Yeah, so we had season tickets.
Okay.
So I'd say I'd start going after, like once I turned 8 years old, I started going to a lot of the games, and I really enjoyed them. They were fun, and
Who would have been there when you were going to games?
so like players.
Yeah.
When I started going, it was like Terrell Pryor.
Okay. Yeah.
So like 2009-ish, around
Gotcha.
that time. So I do remember being at the Ohio State Iowa game in like 2009. And it's unfortunate because now I'm on Iowa side and I'm upset that this happened. But at the time I was really happy, but they won off like a game-winning field goal to send them to the Rose Bowl. But now I'm kind of upset because they should have gone to the Rose Bowl. But in my childhood, it was pretty good. And then like Braxton Miller was another guy
other
who I
dudes.
really enjoyed watching. So yeah, it was good.
Probably Beanie Wells. Those kind of
Yeah,
guys.
he was actually my favorite player, Beanie Wells. So I have a football. I had a football from like signed from him growing up, so it was pretty cool.
Did he sign a Beanie or did he sign a Chris?
I think he did Beanie.
His nickname was Beanie Wells. I don't know why do you know why the nickname?
No, I don't know the nickname, but I was always confused because it was always Beanie Wells, but then on his jersey it said C Wells. So I was always confused, and I was like, oh, his name's Chris. So I figured that out. As I figured that out, it was fine.
Well, it's like there are a lot of people that just go by nicknames now.
Yeah.
Like the leading receiver for Tennessee, his name is Squirrel.
Oh, really?
And I couldn't figure out if that's his nickname or his real name or not. Chubba Purdy. Didn't know if Chubba was his nickname or his real name.
Yeah.
You know?
Either they're some good nicknames or they're just some like interesting names that they got at when they were born, but
That's a fact.
Huh.
It's
All right.
cool. Squirrel. That's a good name.
Yeah.
Good nickname.
For a receiver, for sure.
For sure. That's great.
At the beginning, well, I guess it would have been like middle-ish season, right after Cooper kind of got injured. When I was at the game, I saw it was you, Cooper, Cade, and Eric all on the same golf cart.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, like that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Having those guys around you being injured, obviously it's kind of like, I don't know, in a way you've got to feel like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Right. But then also you guys are able to rally together and kind of like help as much as you can on the sidelines at practice and that kind of thing. What has it kind of meant to you guys to see the team go 10-2, make it to the Big Ten championship, and just keep pressing forward? I mean, what's that been like, being able to watch that happen in the guys that you're around?
Yeah. I mean, I really think it's like a testament to the coaches and, the ability to, express the next man in mentality to everyone. I just feel like everyone that has stepped up has had that mentality and has really done a great job. And, I'm kind of proud. I'm really proud of the guys, that everyone's done a great job. It's not just like, Addison, stepping up and Steve and Scoos and Ortworth all stepping up, because we got hurt. It's like the rest of the guys, like O-linemen, the defense, the whole defense, everyone steps up and has done a great job, in that, aspect. And, as far as having the other guys around, like I know Cade was the second to get injured after me. And, we started competing in these things and, just like kind of having him at practice and, doing that stuff has been nice. And then it's just unfortunate that they just kept coming and, but yeah, it was good. And, it's good that we were able to, help out when we could. So,
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Good.
I keep cutting you off.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. It's got to be a really cool thing too to know that like once you went down, you were still elected as team captain. Like that's not something that happens a lot. And so to know that you've got everybody behind you, and even though you're not able to bring what you bring to the field, but mentally and just your presence, like the fact that they're able to still vote for you, I think is a really cool thing. Yeah. And I just want to say like that's not common. So to be in that position is really cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty nice. It's like a loss of words. It's especially that it's voted on by my teammates is very cool. And, I'm very appreciative of it.
It just goes to show like all the body of work isn't just catching passes in practice. Definitely. It means that you mean a lot more to the program and that what you bring to it is just, again, isn't just catching passes and doing a couple down blocks. Right. There's more to it than that. And I just want to commend you. I think that's a really cool thing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought after that though.
That was going to be a moment.
No, it's good. That's why I lost my train of thought, because it was so good. But yeah, headed into, I guess, kind of wrapping up this season. You said you're feeling great. Obviously headed to the bowl game with the team. That's going to be a great experience. Yep. But then the off season, what does that look like for you?
I'm still trying to figure everything out. Yeah. Just obviously getting healthy is the number one thing. So that's going to be number one on my list. But as far as, next year goes, I'm still, figuring that out with all the coaches, the people around me, the people I surround myself with, and just kind of having conversations and, figuring that out as I go.
Yeah.
So
I think TJ waited until the literal last day to make a decision. So you got plenty of time.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I've been hearing. One of two things is, one, time is on my side. I don't need to rush into anything.
100%.
And two, I can't go wrong. And I truly believe that too. So, I'll make the best decision when it comes, when it comes time. And, I'm excited for anything.
Yeah. I think one of the things too is we talk a lot about Coach Ferentz on here, and like, we always ask the guys, like, what does Coach Ferentz mean to you? That kind of thing. And the common thing is he cares about you more as a person than he does as a player.
Right.
Cares about you as a player.
Yeah.
Obviously wants you to succeed and do well in the field,
for sure.
But more about the person that you are and that you're going to become. And I think that's really cool that you have that, and I'm speaking for you, I guess, at this point, but do you kind of have that confidence of, wherever, the conversations that you have with him, he's going to point you in the direction of what's going to be best for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
I do. Okay. I do. And he's made it kind of clear, like he'll be happy for me no matter what. Like, I'll be backed up regardless. And that is nice to know that I will have that support system from not just only him, but the rest of the coaches and my teammates. So it's pretty special. I'm pretty fortunate.
So after your 25-year NFL career, you're 55, finally hanging it up. What's the end goal after football? Or have you even thought about what the next step? I mean, enterprise leadership. I mean, I don't know if you end up something like an Aaron Campman, you're doing a line. I don't know if you know.
I do know.
So does Aaron spend a lot of time around?
Yeah.
I thought he comes around. So a line is like a leadership kind of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how to describe it.
I know he like they teach leadership almost, and just kind of like this past summer we did a program or training that we kind of went over the what did we do? We took a quiz and it showed us our best qualities, our 5 best qualities, and then our 5 worst qualities, and how that can like kind of help us as leaders. So just kind of talking about that as a group and kind of figuring that out was a big thing. So it was good.
So I guess with enterprise leadership, I mean, barring you don't always have to do what you go to school for, but I mean, I don't know, outside of like Harry Potter cosplay or...
He's asking, what's your plan?
What's the plan after football?
I haven't thought too much about it, but
probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I mean, just in that, like how you mentioned Aaron Campman, it's a pretty cool, thing he's doing. Another person I talk to a lot is Jordan Montgomery, and just kind of his whole like leadership and everything like that. It's pretty cool. So, it's something along those lines would be awesome, but yeah. Really.
Well, we want to take care of the field first, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Understood.
Yeah. Very good. Well, Luke, we appreciate your time. And of course, we want to see you back in the black and gold. But that's very selfishly. And I know the fans feel the same. But you're going to have the backing of Hawkeye Nation and from us, of course, of whatever you choose to do next. So, like I said, we appreciate your time. Hope you have fun at Harry Potter World. Enjoy it. I can't wait to see you in the robe.
There we go.
Please post a picture.
Post a picture, tag us in it. Just make sure we see it.
Okay.
And the wand. We got to know which wand you buy too.
Yeah.
These are important things.
Sure. Very important. We'll see. But yeah, no, thank you very much for having me on the show. It was very cool. And you guys asked, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Great. Well, yeah. Enjoy your time at the Citrus Bowl, and we'll see you soon.
All right. See you guys soon.
This season, Marquee Pizzeria is teaming up with Nico Reganey to help the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. Together, they've created a new signature pizza, the Nico Parm. Sounds so good. $2 of every pizza will be donated to the Children's Hospital. Visit Marquee Pizzeria, located in the Coralville River Landing, this fall, and help the kids by eating pizza.
If you're not in the mood for pizza.
If you're not, I love Estella's because it is fresh, from the fresh grilled steak to the salsas to their fresh pressed tortillas.
I love Estella's because it's quick, we can get in and out, and it doesn't feel like fast food. It feels like fresh food quick.
Yeah, we both love Estella's because it is made with love. They put a lot of pride in their food and customer service, and they are locally owned. Plus, it was my biggest pregnancy craving, I will say that too. That's Estella's Fresh Mex, fresh food made quick with love.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving eastern Iowa. As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly.
To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Okay, let's hop into the Tennessee Volunteers. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you have in your hand?
Well, these are just the notes that I took on the back of an envelope. Actually, this is the front part of the envelope. And then this is... Apparently I was drawing plays on this one, and then also have...
Just in your free time, drawing plays.
Coaches.
Excuse me. What's funny is that we started off this season, and I had like the iPad and whatever, and I'm like, well, I have my phone that might almost be dead, and then you've got an envelope and some wrinkled up paper.
Because we're willing to do whatever it takes to succeed.
Killing it. Doing a great job.
Phrasing.
All right. The volunteers. Do you know why they're called that?
I don't.
So I'm just going to read this directly because I was reading it and I was like, I could try to summarize this, but there's no better way to say what needs to be said. Okay. So the volunteers, the name derives from the 1,500 troops from Tennessee that fought under General Andrew Jackson against the British at the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812. Okay. That same volunteer spirit carried on when the War of Texas Independence broke out in 1835. And men all over the great state of Tennessee took up arms to aid the Texans in their revolution against the Mexican army. One such man was the legendary David Davy Crockett. A soldier and congressman from Greene County in East Tennessee, Crockett is the personification of the volunteer name, so much so that he was the inspiration for the logo Tennessee Athletics adopted in 1983. Like so many men who fought in that Texas campaign, Crockett paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to the cause. And so therefore, the name Volunteers comes from that, from the many men that volunteered in those two wars.
Wow. That's actually very cool.
It is very cool because you hear a lot of people be like, what's volunteer? You know what I mean? Where they're like, I don't know, what's another school where they're like, what's this? What is that? There's another school.
Like the Stanford Cardinal?
Yeah, what you guys are a tree. Like, it's like there's a reason behind it, which is why we like to touch on it a little bit. I'm not a Tennessee fan, but hey, that's a really cool reasoning.
I feel like I heard a lot of things about Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
For some reason, like with the raccoon hat.
Yeah. Is that him?
Or like the pelt hat. Isn't that Davy Crockett? Yeah.
We're always like looking at James like,
well, I looked at the Roman Empire guy to be like,
hey. History? Do you know this? Okay, so there's that. And then Rocky Top, the song.
Yeah.
Do you know the song?
I know that it got played a lot against us, so thanks.
Sorry. Yeah. What does it sound? Okay, so I was like, oh, Rocky Top. Like, I feel like I know what that sounds like. And then I went to the original like recording of it on YouTube and I was like, that does not. And what cracks me up about that time, because I guess it was like, 1972. It was first played in 1972 by Pride of the Southland Band during a halftime at Tennessee-Alabama game. And I was actually named one of the Tennessee state songs in 1982. But the video that I was watching, it was like the Osborne brothers were singing it.
Okay.
And he actually said that exact thing. He's like, oh, this was first played in 1972. It was written by da-da-da. And the way that those old-timey, like, singers, so good. But he's like, this is a song called Rocky Top. And then he starts singing. He's like, oh, Rocky Top. His voice just changes entirely. And I was like, not prepared at all. It's like, all right. Okay. So that's the song. So everybody knows the song, Rocky Top. So that's another thing, little tradition from Tennessee. Let's see. Their mascot. So they're the volunteers, but you're like, okay, what's that mascot going to look like? Do you know their mascot?
I'm pretty sure it's a puppy, isn't it?
It's a dog.
A dog.
Yes, it's a hound dog. Let's see. His name is Smokey.
Ain't nothing but a.
Very good. In 1953, the pep band actually decided that the mascot would be a hound dog, and they named it Smokey. Probably after the Smoky Mountains would be my guess. I didn't see that on there. But somebody in the comments is going to know if we know anything. If we get any Tennessee fans, I'm going to get lit up. All right. So Smokey number 2 actually had like the most interesting story. So in 1955.
Wait, hold on. Is this a real dog or is this a mask? Like a
real dog.
Okay.
It's still a real dog to this day. And he wears a little jacket that's checkered, orange and white. Okay.
Okay.
So Smokey number 2 had the most interesting story. 1955, he got kidnapped by Kentucky students. Yeah, and they paraded him around at a pep rally, and they put him in a Kentucky-colored, I think it was a coat.
That's so sad.
No, it made me so sad. And they had him for 8 days.
8 days?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
My goodness.
It's awful. It's like, where did he stay? What did they feed him? You know what I mean? Like, poor Smokey. No, I almost going to Rocky.
Poor Smokey number 2.
Shoot. So then the next week, Vanderbilt tried to steal him again. They took the wrong dog. They took some like random hunting. I don't know where.
Leave it to Vanderbilt. Come on.
They took the wrong dog. And then in 1957, same Smokey number 2, just 2 years later, he got like in a little tangle with the Baylor Bear, the real bear. I'm pretty certain.
So the real Smokey 2 took on the real Baylor Bear.
Yes. And I guess he came away unscathed, even though he got hit a couple times, like swatted by the bear. Isn't that wild? But
How about that spirit?
What?
Talk about that volunteer spirit.
I guess. And then Smokey number 3 was the longest serving Smokey from 1964 to 1977. Matt, how many years is that? 13. I knew. See how I do that with my math?
Well, that's because you've been trying to work Dax. You're trying to work with Dax.
It's not. Numbers. It's because last night I read that 1964 to 1977. I pulled up my calculator and I said, 1977 minus 1964. And I got 13. And I said, remember that, Laura. And now here we are. Looking smart. And then also he leads the team through the T. Have you seen the Power T? The team comes out. It's actually really, really cool. So the band.
Do they only do it at home games or every game?
I'm assuming home games because they have to have their band. So home games. So the band makes like a T that's just one straight line, like one really skinny straight line up and then one really skinny line horizontally to make a T. And then when the team's about ready to come out, the band like parts vertically and horizontally to make like a bigger T. It's like wild.
So it starts off as like a normal, like what you would draw as a T, but then they turn into like a outline of a T.
Yes, like a block T. It's really cool, honestly. Okay. And then Smokey leads the whole team, like sprinting, like, you know, when dogs do that, sprinting through the T, and then they go out, and then they go to the right, and then that's how they go onto the field. And Smokey leads it in his jacket.
That's pretty cool.
There you have it. I really like Tennessee's history. They have a lot of really cool things actually on their campus too that I was looking at, but wanted to condense it a little bit.
I feel like this is the happiest you've been doing this segment.
There's a dog involved. And war heroes. What more could you ask for?
You're 2 for 2.
America, Matt. All right. So tell me about Tennessee. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm sure we'll get into a tangent in a little bit, but
you will.
Well, we will. I'll pull you in. So they have 11 transfers right now. Wow. They're in the transfer portal. I think we've got 6 or 7. Let me look at my handy dandy. We've got 6. So they've got 11. Okay, and 6 of them are DBs. Some of them played pretty significant time. One of them had 40 tackles and an interception. Another had 30 some tackles. Some were barely seeing the field, but it's like redshirt seniors, regular seniors, some freshmen, redshirt freshmen, you know, like they've got a lot of people that are leaving the program, which is kind of interesting. So I would anticipate now there are a couple of quote unquote top DBs in terms of statistical categories are still there, but still to lose that much depth on the back end, it's pretty interesting. They're also losing a D lineman who had 6 sacks this year. So obviously not having to deal with that helps, but it's just, it's like, what team are you going to face? You know, you can prepare for the scheme, but sometimes you prepare for certain players. You'd be like, you know, like Cooper DeJean, people don't throw at number 3. Like, okay, well, if he's not playing, then it's like, okay, well, now I can open up, you know, my playbook, you know, in terms of now I don't have to scheme just for over here. Now it's like, okay, well, now I want to scheme like Michigan did towards Deshaun Lee instead of Jamar Harris. So, that's a weird part of bowl games in terms of that and opting out. I did not, at the time of recording, I haven't looked at if they had anybody opt out, but at the time of recording, again, 11 guys in the transfer portal, as to Iowa's 6, which none of them were outside of Deontay, played a ton of time in terms of on offense or defense, special teams guys for sure. Like Antario Thompson and Diaz Fernandez, I think is how you say his last name. But it's just an interesting dynamic. You know, you think about last year's bowl game, or not last year, but a couple years ago. No, it was last year when Will Levis opted out for Kentucky, and we were out Spencer, and then Padilla transferred. So it was Joey Labas versus, I can't even remember their name, and then Deuce Hogan transferred there, and he was the backup, and like everybody thought that was going to be the storyline, but then Deuce Hogan didn't even play. But it kind of gets down to, are they delegitimizing bowl games and things like that, which, I mean, we can probably talk about that for a while, but in terms of what I saw schematically.
Hello, Matt. Hi, welcome back.
Yeah. So defensively, with that many DBs down, I mean, they play a little bit of 2 high, play a little bit of 1 high. You know, in terms of like coverages, I don't see it changing a whole lot. They do 3 down linemen, and then they'll bring 1 linebacker, which most of the time, even if you run like a 4-3 or if you run a 4-2-5, you're going to have 4 guys rush the passer on most plays if it's a pass play. Even if you go to a 3-4 or like a 3-2 or a 3-3 stack, like you're going to have four guys versus the passer. It's just who's blitzing. So depending upon if they come out in like a true 3-4 or a true 3-3 with 5 DBs, you're just going to have to pick up the blitzes. And so they're going to have to be talking up front, making sure they know who's coming, where are they stunting. It just allows, like, the gaps are still going to get filled by the defense. It's just a matter of who's going to be there, because they change up whose responsibility is what. So offensively up front, it's just going to have to be that way. I think we're going to run the ball. I think Coach Ferentz made that clear. One interesting thing that he also brought up was that he didn't know for sure if Brian was going to coach in the bowl game, that if he took another job, he would expect him to leave. But the plan right now is that he coaches for the bowl game. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And, as a player, I don't think the scheme would change, obviously, for one game, but who calls the plays and the flow of the game might be a little bit different depending upon if he's there or not. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic that, again, this whole world has kind of moved towards instantly you're gone or instantly you're there. Kind of an interesting dynamic. Do you have any thoughts on something like that?
No, not really. But like you said, interesting dynamic. But as a player, I mean, knowing how your mentality is and just how the Iowa football mentality is, it's like whoever's transferring, whoever's injured, whatever's happening and whatever. Like, all that matters is who's inside the building, who's going to put the pads on, and the fact that it says Iowa across the front of your chest. Like, you just go out there, play, do your job, no matter who's playing quarterback or the fact that you're four of your star players are down. Like, you just go out there and do your job. So not a whole lot to say about it, but
I'd agree with that.
Essentially, I feel like that's your mentality. And I know that came from Coach Ferentz, and it just trickles down to everybody else. So no, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. So
I'd expect something similar to that. But as far as offensively, so this could have been depending upon how the Big Ten Championship would have turned out, it could have been the Cade McNamara kind of reunion games between Michigan and then also Joe Milton, who's a quarterback at Tennessee. He was at Michigan when Cade beat him out.
Okay, so weird.
Just to have that back to back.
Yeah.
Joe Milton, he's in his 6th year, 3 years at Michigan, now 3rd year at Tennessee, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
So is this his last year?
Yeah. Maybe he's got a COVID. I don't know. Maybe he's got a COVID year somewhere. I don't really know how eligibility works in the NCAA anymore. But
okay, sorry. Continue.
20 touchdowns, 5 picks, almost 3,000 passing yards. So they do throw it a decent amount, but he's pretty accurate with the football. Running the ball, they got a guy 1,000 yards, but they got 4 guys with at least 78 carries. So, I mean, they're going to run the football. It's just a matter of how they do it. And like when I was pulling up the tape, I showed you briefly, and you actually had a lot of very spot on things to say. It's like you're listening to what I say in these segments as much as you want to space off.
I can't escape it.
So essentially, and it became really popular a couple years ago when Tennessee beat Alabama. And it might have been, I can't remember. I don't know why I'm blanking on the years these games happen, but I just have a bunch of games. So it was like the Hendon Hooker to Jalen Hyatt game. I think Jalen Hyatt had like 4 or 5 touchdowns against Alabama, and they ended up winning 56-53 or something. High scoring game. And what they do is they put the receivers like all the way on the outside.
Yeah, spread it out.
Keep going.
No, because then you have more guys in the box than they do, because it forces them to spread out. And they have to decide, like, what are we going to try to cover here? The run or the pass? How was that?
That was pretty good.
Thank you so much.
That was pretty good. Put a little more bass in your voice, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. But then they have 3 guys on the line. We've got about 5 guys on the line, and then they've got 2 linebackers there in the box. And based on the play that you were showing me, there was 1 linebacker that was about halfway in the box. So they've got about 5.5 guys in the box. Including the linebackers. And those linebackers are going to have to decide, do we drop back into coverage, or are we going to have to, try to stop the run? How was that?
That last sentence was a little bit off, but outside of that, the rest of it was great.
I almost did it.
Yeah. So they basically want to force you. Are you more scared about the run, or are you more scared about the pass? Because most defenses want to play 4 guys over 3 or 3 guys over 2. They basically just want to have more people than you do. But when you widen them so far, you can't have what they call an apex player, somebody that splits the end guy on the line of scrimmage, which would normally be the tackle or the tight end, and then the receiver. Normally they put somebody near there in that area to cover like a quick slant or a bubble or something. He's just basically there and he's also then the contained player. So if they try to run at him, he can force the ball inside to the rest of the big guys. But when you widen your guys so much, you take away that apex player, or you make them play 3-over-3 or 2-over-2, which it's just an interesting way to go about it. I talked about it a little bit, that I thought Iowa would do something similar, but it's how you get numbers. When you play like that, it's all about where your numbers are. So if you feel like you have better numbers in the box, you're going to run the ball, which is why they have so many guys with 78 carries. I mean, that's a lot. 78 is actually by the quarterback who's got 7 touchdowns. So he also runs the ball a decent amount. So he's responsible for 27 touchdowns. But spread the field to then run. What is nice is that we have such athletic linebackers that it helps. Also, just an interesting stat as I was looking things up. Our leading tackler, Jay Higgins, has more than twice as many tackles as Tennessee's leading tackler.
Wow. That's impressive.
So you said you were good at math. Their leading tackler has 75 tackles. If I said Jay Higgins has more than double, he has to have
150 tackles.
Nice. Golf clap, everybody. Yeah, Jay Higgins has 155.
Okay.
So we know he's going to fly around. Nick Jackson flies around too. We've seen his speed a couple times on getting on the outside. Obviously, Sebastian Castro is probably going to be playing a little bit more if they're going to want to spread us out. He's going to be down there sniffing around the box, as you could say, is that he's going to be near there, be that half player. But we're not going to allow them to widen us out and just take advantage of it because our linebackers are so sound. So I think our defense is going to be in a good position. I didn't see as many transfers on the offensive side of the ball. Just a bunch of redshirt freshman offensive linemen is really all I saw. I think there were 3. But outside of that, I look forward to what our defense is able to do. And then offensively, I'm kind of curious, are we going to let Deacon Hill kind of sling it? Or are we going to, have the 3-headed monster now? Because I'm assuming Jazz is going to be healthy. So Jazz, Caleb Johnson, LeSean Williams, they should probably all carry the football in this game too.
Very good. All right. Anything else you want to say about that? That was pretty good. You condensed it pretty well.
Yeah. The only part that's really interesting is that, how much how long do bowl games stay relevant in today's NCAA?
So I've seen this brought up a lot, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I still think they are relevant because fans still want to watch their teams play. Like, just because you're watching Joey Labas and you haven't been able to watch him all season long, it's still curiosity. Oh, how's he going to do? Oh, we're going to be playing. Is Deuce Hogan going to be playing? Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh my gosh, they lost their star, not lost, but okay, their star running back transferred. Like, well, let's see what else they have. Or, oh, we're going to completely demolish them in the run game. You know what I mean? Like, there's still like this curiosity type thing. And I think like just football fans like to watch football. So I think it's still going to be relevant.
Yes, that's not what I'm concerned about.
What are you concerned about?
Well, and not, again, we just talked about how Iowa goes about their business, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are other programs like the head coach leaves or somebody goes and it's like, well, do I really even want to play in this game?
Right.
Like, how much do the players want to continue to play in bowl games if it's like, okay, half my team is gone or a bunch of the starters are gone because they don't feel like playing in it or whatever that entails. So I think that's the main thing is like how many people leave prior to the bowl game and what that means for the players and how much they are motivated to continue to play. Because there's tons of bowl games, right? And I think it's a really cool opportunity to go play a bowl game. But like when you got Tennessee, who's got 11 transfers, some of them were pretty impact players. A guy who has 6 sacks is gone. Like that means something to that team. So I'm kind of curious as to how the players react to those things. And I think the expansion with the college football playoff, I think is going to be good because there can be more meaningful games. But it's just unfortunate that it's almost turning players off because they can just leave. And I think that's just a battle that the NCAA has to figure out.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that take.
So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we will be back on... We don't know the exact date, but either the first or second week of January. So make sure you guys are tuning in. As always, make sure you're following us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I guess. Who has TikTok?
Who doesn't
the youngins? At Talkin Hawks Pod. Always subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll be back at the first of the year.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.